All right, welcome to Gen X Rated Thursday edition. We've got Melissa joining us today.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come.
Of course. Always good to have you back, and always a good point of view on top of the two of us in general. But thanks for making time today.
Absolutely.
Uncle Bill, how are we doing today?
Doing good. It's always good to see Melissa here, so that makes the day extra special.
It does make it pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on today, but some of the stuff that goes to the core of our democracy has to do with voting. That was kind of a big decision made by the Supreme Court yesterday, 6-3. Obviously, the conservatives don't really remember the 1965 Voters' Rights Act. Or maybe they do and never liked it. I don't know. Did I just lose Uncle Bill?
I think, yeah, there I am.
There you are.
Sorry, Uncle Bill. Yeah, so it's kind of a big deal. They've taken upon themselves to take away the rights of Blacks, Latinos, Asians to have the right to vote, essentially. They started in 1965, the Voters' Rights Act. But Section 2 is the really only thing that's really lasted. Section 2 allows states to, Section 2 has long been used to ensure that minorities' votes are treated fairly. And they redistrict if they have to, but it has to go through a federal court to do that. Now they've kind of ruled against that, not thinking it's fair to the white man. I don't know how else to describe it, but it does allow states now to redraw their district plans, and it weakens the influence of Black and minority voters. We're seeing it currently in Louisiana. They're having their primary vote that's already started. Their governor's come out and said as of tomorrow, they'll stop the vote. Again, people have already started voting, and they will remap their district and vote again until they get what they want, I guess.
It's just so un-American and unconstitutional, and it's just plain sickening. I mean, if you think of what people went through to strike down the old Jim Crow system and to get the Civil Rights Act passed, and it's just all thrown away. And even go back a little further to the Civil War, right? People died, Union soldiers died. And we're back to the Confederacy, basically. Now there's a poll tax again, and they're going to, put a shackle on the black vote. And it all goes back to, Reconstruction should have lasted a generation. Robert E. Lee and all of the Confederacy leaders should have been hung for treason. And there should have been a federal presence in the South for a whole generation. That should have been stamped out. And it wasn't. And this is exactly the model that they want to bring back. They want to decide who can vote, who matters as a person, and everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Right. And they don't want the people, minorities, to have an opportunity to elect somebody who would represent their own interests.
Mm-hmm.
They're more interested in making sure that, the white man stays in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And go ahead.
I was just going to say the Confederacy was mainly settled by the second sons of the English nobles, the ones that didn't have rights to land and everything in the UK. So they came here and they essentially built up that same system. And this is the system we have now. It's only, instead of, millionaires, now you've got billionaires. But it's basically that same system where wealthy white people ran everything. Step out of line, you're going to get your knuckles slapped, or you're going to end up on the wrong end of a noose. But they had all the rights and all the power, and here we are.
Sad but true.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what's happening on the screen here. We did revisit this in 1982. Congress had amended the Voting Rights Act to clarify that providing an intentional discrimination was not necessary to win a case under Section 2 of this law. They've essentially taken that away. Now they've made it, you don't have to prove intent. I think we've come far enough from 1965 to know that it's all intent. But now they don't have to provide that to discriminate, and it just doesn't make any sense. It totally takes the rights from any minority, and all the southern states, to Bill's point, are going to run with this. It's going to be Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas is already in play. I mean, Trump started. Now he's saying Tennessee is going to pick up a seat or two. It's just frustrating because I like to think in the big picture that, yeah, redistrict it, gerrymander to death. But if people come out and vote, nobody's voting for this stuff, right? I mean, how could you? How could you support this?
Yeah,
Oh, I know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I mean, how could you? Because even if your vote counts now, who's to say it's going to in the future? You are not in their club.
Right.
Very true. Well, we'll see how it works out in Louisiana. I'm sure this is going to end up in the courts, but when it starts at the Supreme Court, it doesn't give me a whole lot of hope that we're going to be able to manage through this anyway, because they've got the power currently.
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly, for sure. And this all starts again with Trump. It was every 10 years after a census that you could look at the redistrict based on data. But 5 years in, Trump starts to panic, and then all of a sudden, the issue is that let's redistrict now. We need to tilt the tables now, which is kind of unheard of. He starts these new precedences, which just make no sense other than to help support himself. And I guess most of the Republicans are okay with this.
Yeah. And it's a dangerous precedent because once we go in that direction, there's always a way to justify, even if you're the good guy, there's a way to justify going in that direction. Right?
Oh, yeah. It's a slippery slope.
Yep.
It definitely is. But we're kind of here, and it's going to take people to actually come out and make that difference by voting. They're going to do their best, obviously, to slant the vote. To keep people from voting. We're already seeing that. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to come out and stand up for your rights. I mean, I don't know any other way to do it. You can't mail it in because they're trying to seize the post office. You can wait in line. Maybe they cut you off at 7 p.m. Who knows? Again, it comes back to the courts. But in general, this is a different path than we're used to seeing. And I'm hoping that it's something we'll get some good pushback from, hopefully.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, I'm not really overly confident, but you never know. I mean, again, people have died for the right to vote. Many people.
Yeah.
Well, and here we are, where we have troops in Iraq and Iran, and we're all about supporting the troops, but essentially they're supporting the Constitution, meaning the troops. We're just using them at this point. Hegseth's been on the Hill for the last 2 days. He's very vitriol and angry, particularly at the Democrats. His answers are not great. They have no rhyme or reason except pounding their chest and saying that we're winning and we support the troops. But the troops in Kuwait tell a bit of a different story. They had no drone coverage. How this administration didn't know that Iran would lash out at our bases over there. He said, of course we thought about that. Well, you may have thought about it, but you didn't give any support to these troops. On the record, 13 casualties, soldiers lost, 300 and some people were injured during this. I mean, we don't really know real numbers because they don't want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it really difficult. I will say that people pointed out in the last 4 years, and yes, Trump's only been in office for a year, but we've lost the right to an abortion if necessary. We lost the right to financial aid to get a degree. We've lost clean air, clean water, safe food without forever chemicals. It's just stuff that's not necessarily going to come back unless we really push.
Research too. We've lost a lot of research money. They took all the money out of mRNA vaccine research. Like, it's just stupid. It's absolutely stupid and short-sighted, and we're all going to pay for this in the next couple of decades.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're starting to pay for it already. And maybe that just comes from lack of care about your health care or your situation or the cost of it. I mean, these $2,000 health accounts do what? Not much.
Yeah.
They won't even cover your deductible in a lot of cases.
I know, God forbid you have some kind of terminal cancer. you're just not going to get that kind of treatment. So
Mm.
here we are. Welcome to America, the greatest country ever, the hottest economy. We're amazing, right?
If you're a billionaire, yeah.
I mean, we just keep telling ourselves that, and maybe it'll happen. But to that point, people making over $100,000 a year, we used to talk about six figures. That seemed really impressive, and I still find that to be the case for a lot of people. But in 12 states around the country, you'd be qualified as lower middle class if you're making six figures, if you're making over $100,000. To that point, people are not real high on how Trump's handling the economy. Whether that's going to show at the ballot box, I'm not sure, but 21% of the people who are supporting him right now, that's not a lot. His job disapproval is at like 65%. The stragglers, I don't know who they are, but maybe they're just not paying attention. One of the respondents was unsure, so that could be part of it too. So, but people do have a lot more concern than they did during the 2008 financial crisis. We had that great recession, and people had a little bit more confidence then. Maybe it's about leadership. I don't know. Maybe it's just about the trend of how things are going as far as food prices, gas prices, energy prices. You factor in AI, and it's a whole new ballgame. I mean, I don't know how we combat that.
I wish I had an answer to that, but I don't. I don't know what we do either. It seems like the whole world is changing, and we don't know what it's going to look like or how to prepare for it. But it's definitely coming, and all we can do is feel anxiety about it.
Yeah, and it's coming fast.
Yep.
And the people in charge, I mean, the Congress in this country you've got some senior citizens who've way overstayed their their point of actual being able to function. They just don't understand. And, the people that are behind this, that are pumping up this AI bubble, and it is a bubble.
Mhm.
There is no doubt these companies are highly leveraged now. They just keep pumping it up. But these are people that think that they are way smarter than they actually are. I'm not saying they're a group of idiots. They're pretty fucking smart. But at the same time, these people are fucking high on the smell of their own farts. They think they are so incredibly clever. But what they are unleashing now, they have no idea. None of us do. I mean, we've talked about singularity before, where AI realizes it can think for itself. It doesn't need to be a data scraper anymore. And some of the things that we've seen that it is capable of are downright chilling. I mean, the one that they put into the workplace that blackmailed their boss. I mean, and you're seeing, the military using it, and that's great. We blew up a girls' school and wouldn't take responsibility. I mean, at some point, it's like, what was the old Disney movie, where the Sorcerer's Apprentice? Well, all of a sudden, the sorcerer is not the one in charge anymore, and these people their egos are so bloated that they just think they know it all, and they have no idea. It's terrifying.
No, and I'm very concerned about the lack of any kind of legislation to regulate this industry, because it's right now the Wild West, and it's so
It
fast.
really is.
We can't slow down and take our time with this, because we've got to get something on the books.
Because you got to keep that bubble going. Otherwise, if this whole thing crashes, all these companies are left, out a lot of cash.
Yeah, well,
And it's just.
I don't feel so sorry for them. I feel a lot sorry.
Oh yeah, but
for
I mean,
them.
it brings down everybody else. That's
Right.
the thing. It's going to take us all down.
And it kind of shows you who's running things. You think that you vote for your representative in your state that represents you, and it really isn't the case. I mean, we're talking about a dozen billionaires that are basically pushing this agenda and having fun with it. It's almost like monopoly money for them. They don't worry so much about the people that have to live around these data centers, that have the constant humming of the noise, have the pollutants that come, and the suck of all the water in the area. I mean, Texas is going through that right now. They are going to run out of water in Corpus Christi. I don't know how you fix that. Now, of course, if you ask the genius in the White House, he'll say, it rains all the time, or we've got oceans. What's the big deal? But turn on that faucet and have it not, have the water coming out. It's pretty shocking. It's a little bit terrifying, because it's a legit reality if we continue down this path.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, well, and Melissa, you've lived with that in LA. I mean, you've had years where you couldn't water your lawn. Yet celebrities, Alec Baldwin, Tom Selleck, they plowed it. They didn't care. They watered their lush green lawn.
Yeah, I mean, it drives me crazy to see people leaving water running for like, to put something in the sink and then go and then leave the water running. Drives me crazy. I'm so used to living someplace where water is at, premium and we have to conserve it. But I mean, it could get real bad real fast in LA if we don't, get rain, which I suppose we're supposed to get this coming year with El Nino.
Well, and your reservoirs did fill up this past winter, which is super helpful. And I also feel like
Mm.
you actually have a fairly progressive government, um,
So
with,
far,
with
we
some
have,
foresight.
yeah, we have some concerns about that since Eric Swalwell was in the lead and he exploded, which really is so disappointing because I really liked him and
Yeah.
so upsetting. Um, and then now we're sort of like there's the next two or two Republicans, and the way our system works is two highest scoring people will face off, but that could be two Republicans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's just the Democrats just can't seem to get out of their own way.
I don't think that's anything new with him. He's had issues. I understand we're all human. I don't know how legit all of that is, but even any of it is pretty awful.
Right.
And he did the right thing. It's a little bit different than the case of a comedian touring in the Middle East and making like hand gestures on a woman's chest. Big difference. And he did the right thing to step down. These other guys on the other side of the aisle wouldn't, because he did. Garcia in Texas stepped down, and he was the one that was having the affair and texting with his associate that he underling that worked with him, who lit herself on fire and killed herself. It took Sue leaving for that to happen. Like, it's ridiculous that it was a tit for tat. This guy was under pressure for months prior to this and wouldn't leave Congress, and
Right.
you know I just they don't equate necessarily. One guy used extremely poor judgment and was a pig. The other guy literally helped, second degree murder, manslaughter, whatever you want to call it. He was part of that.
Oh yeah.
But they're in our government, and we have a lot more people in our government like that, and they get a
Well,
free pass and health care.
yeah. I mean, we're currently at war in the Middle East because we want to cover up the
Yep,
pedophiles in our government.
Right.
absolutely. And again, to that point, the Epstein files are still, the European press is going through it. European governments are well aware of what a pig this guy is. And yeah, it's a great distraction for Americans who have a limited attention span, but they're still digging in New Mexico. They are finding bodies. Apparently, Epstein, impregnated these girls, and then they tried to make the ultimate, genetic person based on him and his needs. I
You're
mean,
starting from zero right there. I mean, Jesus.
it's like sci-fi. It's ridiculous, but again, we talked about this. These people with this kind of cash have a problem.
Mhm.
They have issues, and they have to have, and it's always in the moment. That's why they can't look a month down, 2 months down, and see the danger and the harm that they're doing, because right now I'm just stuffing myself with as much cash as I can
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
wants and whatever I need.
It almost seems like they're just like always looking for that next dopamine hit because you can have whatever you want to, and whatever you get, you always want something else. You're never going to be satisfied with it, and it's just gets stranger and more bizarre and more cruel and more disgusting as you go on and on.
Yeah.
They're sick people.
Yeah. You got to start owning people because you already own everything else.
Yeah.
Owning people, maybe eating people from some reports, who knows?
Yeah.
But why not? Hey, it's something new and novel.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and as that's going on behind the scenes, and there is some digging going on, obviously in New Mexico, which is important. I know Trump wants you to forget about it, but then they'll throw you little bones like these executive orders that are just out of control and aren't really laws. So your congressional people aren't actually doing anything for you. Trump just sends out an executive order, and that's supposed to be super, but it's all just lip service. He's expanding access to retirement savings accounts for workers without employer provided plans. So if you work for a company that doesn't have it, Now he's going to make these retirement savings accounts, which sounds a lot like his health savings account. You have 54 million workers that don't have a program, and his little retirement account, I just don't think if you're starting at age 35, 40, you're going to have enough time to really do anything. Oh, special guest.
Margot wanted to join. Very opinionated.
I like it.
We're here for it.
So they tell you about these savings accounts, and that's like, wow, we're really doing for you. But they're cutting SNAP. They're cutting any benefits that you might have. They're not forcing these companies to make sure you have a retirement program. They're just going to do a sidebar. And at the same time, we've seen Kristi Noem spend $220 million on a 60-second ad. Hegseth literally spent $93 billion in a month. And then big tech got $51 billion in tax cuts. I got crushed at tax time. There's nobody that I know that wasn't complaining about their taxes. But I watched Lee Zeldin tell Congress that I talked to people all over America, and they're really happy with how much money they got back. The guy pushed him on it, saying, you don't really talk to regular people. But he said he did. I find it really hard to believe. I couldn't find two people out of 20 that would have agreed with his statement. The other part of it is that Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says, hey, file a different way and you'll get more money in your paycheck. And sure, that soundbite sounds amazing. But then come tax time, April 15th, I'm paying a shitload of money back. I'm paying for all that money you gave me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason you have withholdings.
That's right. So I don't have to pay.
Yeah, no, so that's just bad advice from somebody who's supposed to know what the fuck they're talking about. But again, this is it's a confederacy of clowns and dunces and unserious people. So
yeah.
And this is what you get. And then back to the ballroom. 1 in 3 people oppose the ballroom. Nobody wants this. It's like 56% oppose this. And on the other end of that, 16% aren't sure. You know,
I think they're going to get invited to that ballroom, a very horrible looking ballroom that none of us will see, but we will certainly pay for.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So 4% of Democrats support it, 87% don't. Of course, on the Republican side, 65% do support it, while 20% don't. It gets worse because Lindsey Graham came out with new legislation on Tuesday, I think. Him, Katie Britt, who's insane, and Eric Schmidt, our representative, who's
that guy,
just the devil in disguise. But they passed a bill to fund it with taxpayer money because you saw that assassination attempt. We need it.
Right. Yeah, we need it because there wasn't a bunker before he tore it down in the first place.
Yeah.
Wasn't big enough.
Yeah, it wasn't modern enough, but you could upgrade. I mean, I don't understand. We didn't need.
Well, it's not supposed to be a place to live. It's a place that you go into a bunker and then wait it out and then, deal with it. But it sounds more like he doesn't want to leave at all.
Sounds like they're almost planning for something that they know is coming. Maybe the rest of us aren't really ready for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But, and just it's really disappointing the way the media just hopped on board with that, assassination attempt. Well, I don't know. Maybe if the shooter isn't actually in the same room as whoever the intended target may be, maybe that's not really an assassination attempt. Maybe that's, I don't know what that is. A guy trying.
Goal. You aim to assassinate, but you didn't make it very far.
Yeah, you were an aspiring assassin, but that was not really an attempt.
But
like I can attempt a field goal and miss it, field goal attempt. But if I never even kicked the ball, I aspired to it and I failed.
But you were in the stadium, so it was like an attempt.
Yeah, it's just the whole thing is just fishy as fuck. And even people like Tucker Carlson are questioning, not only the Butler thing, but they're questioning this now. And like you pointed out the other day, the reactions of the people that were there, they acted like they were, getting ready to join a conga line, grabbing their wine glass on the way out.
Some bottles of wine on the go.
Yeah.
Trump behind the curtain watching everything. Here's the thing. In a real assassination attempt, you're separating the president and vice president. Not only did they not do that, after the fact, when they pulled them all together to have this press conference, you wouldn't do that either. You would totally separate these guys until you knew that there was no threat.
Yeah.
Apparently, they knew there was no threat. Hegseth was all laughs. KK Caroline really enjoyed the display, and it was kind of silly. I mean, the whole thing, you look at the video, Burns can send me a bird clear as day on video outside her workplace, but I couldn't make heads or tail out of that guy went running through. I don't know who shot. They said he shot with a shotgun, but no shots were fired. But then 8 shots were fired, but nobody was hit. Then it was the Secret Service agent was hit, but he was wearing a vest and he's okay. Turns out he was shot by his own guy. Like,
and we couldn't find the bullets.
And this guy's in custody, much like the Charlie Kirk so-called shooter in custody. Like the guy in Florida who carried a gun outside of a golf club by Trump is already in jail. Like,
what about the guy who like supposedly tried to shoot him in PA? What happened to him?
Oh, he was killed.
Oh yeah, they killed him.
The Butler kid.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He
was
killed.
From Bethel Park. His parents had some questions. They're not really being answered. The fireman that was also killed in that display, his family was kind of shut down. His wife, they had questions. They used him as a prop when Trump was campaigning, and they put his jacket out on the stage, and then they mispronounced his name. It's just offensive from top to bottom. They just use people as pawns. They really don't care. And the people that do think there is care there are delusional, because this guy can't care for anybody.
And they do it so half-assed.
Really bad. They're not even trying anymore, frankly.
Yeah, it's almost insulting. I mean, you watched what they did, the footage that they showed. Tucker Carlson did a documentary about it. I mean, and it just shows them, okay, now you might get a better view over here. Let's shuffle on over here. Wait a minute. Let's get the flag in place. Hold on.
Well, and it was right before the shot rang out that they were guiding people around to the side. And
you fireman guy, you stay right there.
You're fine. Sad but true. And then the lowering of the flag, and then allowing a president to stand up in that situation where you don't necessarily know how many shooters there are, where the shots necessarily came from. And he's going to stand up with his fight. I mean, silly.
And the fake blood, nothing was wrong with that ear, except there's nothing in between the two of them. But it's, I mean, he went to they took him to the hospital, and the doctor's like, "You're fine." Well,
there was
no Band-Aid on there.
There was no ER report on his status because he really didn't have anything wrong with him. And people were there. I mean, people in Butler at the hospital before he got there, they have phones. I mean, this is 2026. They noticed nothing. There was really nothing to see, but it did work. He did get the sympathy vote, I guess, along with Elon's magic computers. And here we are a year in, plus, we're at $126 a barrel for oil. Of course, this regime says, oh, we don't buy oil from Iran, so we don't worry. But you do get helium. You do get fertilizer. A lot of things come through the strait. It's not all about oil. I mean, come on, guys. It's just ridiculous. But we don't need nobody.
We don't need nobody. We'll stand on our own with our mounting pile of debt and this war that we can't seem to figure out a way to get out of. But it plays right into, the hands of the Iranians.
Yeah, don't call it a quagmire.
And Netanyahu.
Yep.
Yeah, those guys are having their finest moments. There's no doubt. We're helping China quite a bit. Those that are leaving OPEC, it's because they don't want to pay in dollars anymore. So they'll be paying in Chinese currency instead of ours. And that's going to take a big chunk out of things. It really is going to harm our economy, but we don't need the oil. So I guess it's okay. It's kind of ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
And then just this straight out numbers, inflation spiked 3.5% in March. Prices from last year are up over 3.5%. U.S. gas at average is $4.30 a gallon, highest in 4 years. We did just say in Columbus, Ohio, it's $5. Again, not sustainable. Our national debt just passed 100% of our GDP for the first time since 1946. 46. Like, what was going on during that time? I mean,
I don't know. Some big worldwide event, I think, was winding down or had ended.
exactly. So, I mean, I don't know. None of it's really positive. Food prices are only going to get worse. Farmers are only going to be able to produce so much with their limited amount of fertilizer. And, you know, it's the storm is coming, but we're being told to beat your chest, support the troops. And Iran, we've been fighting this war for 47 years. I mean, is it any coincidence that President 47, and these are easy numbers for like Hegseth to remember, Trump to remember? I mean, I don't remember 15 years ago having such an issue with Iran.
Yeah, things had kind of died down. And I mean, this goes back a long ways. This goes back to the 40s and 50s when we started with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, this is all self-inflicted. We just decided we are going to take that fork that looks nice and shiny and sharp and stick it right in our eye just to see what's going to happen.
Well, I'm not interested. That sounds painful.
It is. Yeah. Not recommended. Don't do it.
Yes, it's going to happen.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I was going to say Netanyahu, like completely, he's been trying to convince U.S. presidents for for decades to do it. And Trump was the only stupid asshole who actually got convinced. Like how fucking manipulatable is he? If he can be convinced.
I think it comes back to the Epstein files again.
Yeah.
This is, Netanyahu's wheelhouse. Working with Epstein, they have dirt on everybody.
The Mossad has eyes and ears everywhere.
And Trump was the worst. I mean, he was the worst offender. I mean, why did Russia bring him over in 1987? Because he was an easy one. Oh, we'll give you plenty of money, all the rubles you can shake out of my pocket, but we own you. We now have you. I still saw like that Habab chick who may be back at the Department of Justice before we know it, talking about Russia hoax. I mean, the way that they're able to continually put that stuff out there like it was a hoax. No, look at any European press. There was a whole plan on manipulating the American voters through social media, pinning each other against each other, putting all kinds of disinformation out there to help their candidate, which happened to be Trump. So, you can talk about how it's a Democratic hoax and all this stuff, but the reality is that all this stuff went down. Trump's a horrible person. He's done terrible things to people. We won't even talk about him ripping his first wife's hair out because he was so mad about his balding issue, and then raped her. I never raped anybody. I hope that comes back to be the case. The "I'm not a crook" speech when Trump said, "I'm not a pedophile." Right on.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's just ridiculous.
When you have to tell somebody you're not a pedophile, that's a problem.
Well, and it was really funny, like if you saw like the clip of the interview with Nora O'Donnell, how he immediately assumed it was him.
Right, he did.
That was awesome. Oh, you thought I was talking about you?
That was the only smart thing that she said. The rest of it, she just rolled over and complied. And it was like, you know what? You're a journalist. This is your job.
It's your job to push back. Yep.
And tell him that's exactly why I'm asking this. This isn't a personal matter. This is my job. This is what I do. This is how this works.
Well, and CBS is basically a government propaganda machine anymore. I mean, certain topics.
What's even more maddening and galling is that the shill that's running it, Barry Weiss, is from Pittsburgh. For God's sake, we're better than that.
She's not.
It's so disappointing,
Her Yinzer status is revoked. Okay.
So as all this stuff goes on, we talked about the other day about cutting benefits for if you had a Down or a disabled child who's growing up in your house. They get to be in their 20s. They're going to cut, as a senior, they're going to cut your benefits or lessen them by whatever it's costing to take care of your loved one. I mean,
or if you have a parent, an aging parent living in your house, the same thing.
Perhaps demented, could be disabled or elderly. Anybody that's a caregiver, they want to take money from you. They're looking to cut benefits for up to 400,000 disabled adults and older people. 400,000 people. Some of these cases, they're going to take away $11 here and $30 there. And we already talked about how their spending's out of control, but they want to make this more harmful. Some people don't have a choice but to take them in. You're not going to send them to the magic hospital where they're going to get amazing care. I mean, it's just not a thing. We're not set up for that in our healthcare system, nor do we have the funds for it. So it's like you're just making it cruel for those that are already in a bad situation. You're making it much worse.
Yeah, cruelty is the point. And you can tell a lot about society by the way it treats its most vulnerable members.
Yep.
And that's us. We're a horrible society. It's cannibalistic capitalism.
This country's pretty terrible at it. And then we talk about, the future, like these kids, we want them in these factories doing, I don't know what their job's going to be, but anything electric, plumbing, carpentry, anything but a professional office job, because we don't need them anymore. We just need for AI to produce energy. We need to produce these factories to support AI and not actually our workers. But I saw an interesting thing where it was hourly pay to be able to afford a home. And this is going back a ways, but in the 1920, it was like 40 cents for hourly pay. And yeah, that's kind of an extreme example, but just starting in the 80s, you had to make $6.75 an hour to be able to afford a home. Seems reasonable. We're right around minimum wage. Coming into the 90s, it got up to about $11.25. Come to 2000 with the millennium, $16 an hour. 2010, $22 an hour to be able to afford a home. 2020, which is $32.70. Seems like a lot. A lot of people aren't making $32 an hour. I know some incoming workers that are just starting their careers and they're not making that kind of money. So the house isn't going to happen. By the time we get to 2025, it's $57.32 an hour to be able to afford a house. A year later, we're at $59 an hour. That's a pretty good hourly wage. And that's just to be able to afford a house.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the incentive?
That's like a really rapid increase. It's a scary trajectory.
I think so too.
Yeah.
From 2010, where it was $22 to 2026, where it's $59 an hour.
Right.
Nobody's buying homes. We talked about this the other day. If you're 60 something and you have equity and you own your home, you're going to be selling to another 60 plus person that also has equity in their home. You're just trading, but you're not bringing any new blood into this system at all. I mean, it's like the CEOs that don't retire the way they used to go on their fishing boat and let the next generation come up. We just don't do that. We feel like we're going to live forever or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's because that's the worst generation ever.
Well, they're not dying fast enough, as you say.
Only the good ones.
No, that's your hourly wage. We know there aren't any poor senators because that's their own club. But Congress, in their first session, January 3rd, 2025 to January of 2026, the House worked 148 calendar days. Those are the days they were in session. The Senate worked 171 days in that first session. So that's a year. So you're basically working a third of the time, which is you're getting paid full time, 365 days, but you're not working very much.
Well,
already in this second session in 2026 through April, the House has worked 58 days. That's crazy. That's like half the time.
And how much of those working days when they're in session are they actually working? We know that they spend most of their time fundraising.
Yep.
And meeting with lobbyists. How much time do they actually spend going over bills and looking at all the nuances that, things that have to be considered in, legislation?
I think, go ahead.
I'm guessing it's not very much.
Yeah, I don't think they do it at all. They have staff, and their staff summarizes everything. And I doubt they even read the staff summaries part of the time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're spending very much of their time actually delving into details and nitty gritty of what, a bill is going to do to their constituents.
And to your point, you talk about bills. We're not legislating anything. We're just trying to stay in power at this point. There are no new bills that are coming up. The only other bills that are coming out are to limit your ability to vote, your ability to free speech, your ability for clean air, clean water. Those are the only things that gain any traction. I just wanted to put that photo up because that was my tomato story.
Hey, it's Vinny.
Yeah, how many tomatoes do you need? No, too many onions.
Vinny, don't put too many onions in the sauce.
You only put 2 in.
Classic.
But yeah, to your point, they're just not serious people. They're not really doing their job. Their job is to create bills that benefit Americans. We're just not doing any legislating at all.
Mhm.
Why do we need them?
We really don't. They're useless, with
They don't
very
really
few
help.
exceptions.
And all they do is cause us trouble, actually. Most of them anyway.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt. Raising taxes, feathering their own nest. And as to your point, yes, that's all they do is fundraise. I mean, this was probably 15 years ago, 10 at least, but you had to bring in about 35 to 40,000 a day. And they just work the lines. They have to. If they want to stay in power, this is what we're going to do.
Well, that's why lobbyists have so much power, because they can feed that cash machine and help you stay in line. And the candidates that are relying on just people like us, the small donors, it's really tough for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a fucked up system, and there's no incentive to change it because the people that are running it and benefiting from it like it.
Sure.
Right.
And they don't plan on leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put her up. This is Casey Means. She was going to be the Surgeon General. We talked about her. She's kind of a grifter, sells some products, thinks Advil is poison, didn't believe in vaccinations, etc. She has been withdrawn. She didn't really make it through the process of her nomination. Trump says she'll go back to making America healthy again, whatever that means. But the reason I put this up is because of the lack of seriousness. He has picked this woman, doctor, and she is a doctor, thankfully, Nicole Safier, maybe? I don't know. She's a radiologist. She does work in the field with cancer, which is super. But she's more known as a Fox television personality. This is what we have. This is going to be our number one Surgeon General, our number one medical official is going to be right here. I'm sure she's delightful, but it just doesn't seem serious. It doesn't seem like we are, I don't care what you look like if you're qualified, but we put up pretty people and figure that covers enough. This is a person that was against COVID vaccination for children. It's great in hindsight, and I don't think the data supports it, but to find that, we had some problems here, there with this vaccination, but this was a world effort to create something in record time, and they gave Trump a lot of credit for it, and he shit all over it because...
Yeah, the one thing he did right.
Yeah.
In 2 terms that he's done right.
And he kind of had to, because people were scared. People were dying. We were being told how many people were being put into ice boxes and stuff. And he did. He made it happen with the help of the world and science. But then we forget that because science, maybe he's bigger than science. And it just feels like we live in this unreal reality. I'm going to put this guy up too, because there's talk of Amazon, who famously made Melania a movie star. I mean, that probably had record numbers of people viewing that. But they're talking about doing a reboot of The Apprentice
Oh, I get that.
with Donnie Jr.
Oh my God.
I mean, it feels like jumping back into the 90s. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's already sailed. There is no Apprentice. What, he's going to work under Trump? Like, what are we talking about? Or even Donnie, what, in their businesses that are now fully blown up from anything from, his usual drones to probably, I don't know, guns and weapons.
Crypto. Don't forget crypto.
And crypto, big thing. So what, we're really going to do an Apprentice?
He's big on gambling too. He's really into those gambling apps that everybody's
Yeah.
using and harming themselves with. So
Yeah, it makes people really insecure. They're losers as far as gambling. And I get the ad on my podcast I listen to of John Daly. I forget what it is, but it's a free casino where you just play for fun. And I
Yeah.
hear him and he's like, I use it all the time. And I'm like, you're kind of a mess. Like, I mean, sure, you're John Daly and you're an icon, but like, you know, I saw you at the golf course, a beer in your pocket, cigarette in your mouth. Sure, you can hit it, but like up here, I think you're just not, you know, really, we should all be gambling. I mean, it's just
On the John Daly gambling app,
exactly.
like
Might
the
as
Tiger
well
Woods
be.
dating app.
Yeah.
It's just not serious, and these people just don't seem very serious. And again, to like even talk about The Apprentice, they didn't release the tapes from The Apprentice where he was using the N-word, where he was shitting himself, where he was just a disgusting, vile person. We didn't see that, but we want to remember it with nostalgia, like, oh, you know, you're fired. And
Yeah.
come on,
Well,
man.
maybe he thinks it's the way to get to the presidency, and you know, Junior probably wants to get there too.
Whoa.
So, you know, they
Let's
might
hope
just
not.
have to do Apprentice first.
He's disliked intensely. I don't see it happening.
God
No,
help us if we ever fall that far.
yeah, I know.
I mean, and this just goes into place with like, it's all about appearances. Trump, and I'll just list a couple. We talked about this the other day. Trump's now going to be on the 250-year American passport. Trump and the founding fathers. He's already has his big mug on national park passes, which if you recall, when people tried to put a smiley sticker over it, if you went to the parks, they would confiscate it because,
Yeah.
hey, we got the Trump gold card, which I think one person bought it, Nicki Minaj. Turned out it really doesn't get you citizenship, but hey, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Keep the card. The Kennedy Center, Performing Arts, had to be renamed with dummy on it. His signature is now on paper currency for the dollar. The Institute of Peace, that's another Trump thing. Like, how tiny of a penis do you have to have that you need all this stuff?
Yeah,
Micro tiny level.
yeah, for sure.
It's crazy. It's just crazy. Like, this guy's not going to leave. And even when he's gone, he's still going to be on all these things that nobody wants to see him on. It's like, oh.
I'm so glad I don't have to renew my passport right now. I mean, why does he want his ugly mug all over the place? Like, you know, it's not like we all want to take a look at your face. I mean,
He's a hot guy.
Oh, yeah. Hot guy.
Hot guy.
yeah, I think he still thinks he is in some way. I don't know. It's hard
He
to
never
imagine.
was.
He never was. No, he never
No.
was a good-looking guy. But you know, he was
Always
rich.
gross. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, and I should put this up because it's another thing. It's at Durrell. We showed it the other day, but the similarities between him and Kim Jong are just, it's just too much. Like, what do you do?
Way too much.
Yeah.
Just crazy. I did have a happy ending. I know I'm getting over time here, and I don't want to take too much of your time here, but I did have a happy ending that I wanted to put up here real quick if I can find this guy. All right. Maybe later. This is the cat. Its name is Dodger. This is Amber. Amber in 2016, they adopted this cat, and then in 2018, the husband passed. So they moved to Georgia they were moving to Florida from California. They had a friend help bring the furniture and the cat. On the way to bringing the furniture, the cat got loose and was gone. So this is 2018 that they lost this cat. He fled. The cat's been living on the land for a while. Somebody found the cat and then took it to a shelter to see if it needed to be neutered or spayed. And it didn't, because it had already been done. And what they found was it had a microchip. Very important, a microchip. Then they were able to trace it back to this family who had since moved to Georgia and said, hey, would you like your cat back? And they did. They were super thrilled to get this cat back. 7 years later, just shows that you really do need to microchip if you can. And then the cat basically, as if it had never left. I mean, the kid was saying he was able to like hang it over its shoulder and stuff like it used to 7 years ago, and the cat didn't forget. So that was my happy ending. I thought that was pretty amazing that 7 years later, they actually got the cat back.
That's awesome.
That is a happy ending.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty nice. My other thing was that the Roundup provision that was in the bill that Congress passed was taken out. That provision was so that you couldn't sue the manufacturers if you ended up getting cancer from Roundup. That did not pass as part of the bill. So to me, that was pretty positive. Just because if you absolve them of any wrongdoing when they're poisoning us, who's gonna look out for us? Pretty much nobody.
Right.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that was one positive along with the cat. But anybody else have a positive, happy ending?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna think really hard because I want to have something positive to say.
Yeah.
um,
That's a tough one.
Uncle Bill,
Yeah.
anything?
I don't know. Maybe the Pirates have started their annual swoon early so we can get out of the way this year. Start off hot, get you excited, and then turn into a
Now they're-
dumpster fire. So
Yeah, they lost today, so now they're back at 500. Skeens pitched today, and that didn't help either. So tough break. And the Pens lost last night. That wasn't super positive either. But
yeah, that was a tough one.
spring is coming. That's kind of nice. The sun's shining today.
Days are getting longer. That's
I
good.
love that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, we got that going for us.
Right. We found some things to be happy about. It's not all complaining.
No.
Yeah.
And I'll take the complaining out of it and just more about giving information. And then you do with it what you want. But
Sure.
behind the scenes, they're screwing us. So be aware.
Well, yeah, but tomorrow is May Day, so we'll see what happens if people, take
I'm
the
glad
day
you
off
said
of work.
that. We talked about that 3 weeks ago. May Day was going to come up. People were not supposed to go to work. People were not supposed to. I don't know. I don't know if this was the purchasing one. Don't go shopping. But definitely not going to work was a big one. Just to make a point. We talked about that 4 weeks ago. I haven't seen anything in the last 2 weeks. I know
I haven't either.
Vern reminded us. I told several people 2 weeks ago to get that day off, whether it's PTO or just don't go or whatever. But if you're not getting any support and nobody's hearing about it, it's going to be a tough sell.
Right. I thought about that too because my tenant that I have in my guest house now is from Iran. So his family and everybody is back there. And, he's very wanting to protest. And so I told him about May Day, but then I haven't seen anything really about it.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think as the weeks went on and as the war continued, that was supposed to be over in 2 weeks, and the economy got worse and people had, less money. Maybe it's not the best time not to go to work type of thing. I mean, I don't know if that's how it was planned necessarily, but if you're food insecure, you're probably not going to turn down a day's work type of thing.
Right. And you probably have a job that isn't going to pay you to take a day off.
Yeah, for sure. Or have any understanding, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm glad you did point that out, though, Uncle Bill, and I appreciate Vern reminding us as well. But we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm going to have a home worker in my house, so I'll make sure he's doing little work. Though his company is Dutch, so maybe he gets a pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. And the hope would be that some of the major unions would just have all their members stay home, and shut down the trucks, shut down the airlines, and I don't know.
They
We'll see.
haven't done enough of a good job promoting it. They
You're
really
right. You're absolutely right.
I think it's just those of us who actually get those kind of emails and search out that kind of information who know about it. And for most people, they really didn't hear much. So.
And in fairness, the media is owned by the GOP and the
Yeah,
voters.
sadly, yeah.
They don't want it out there. You're not going to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of how it feels.
The
Anyway,
Epstein files, for example.
back to yes, and the Epstein files aren't going away. I'm seeing more and more video. It's more and more disturbing. People may want to think it's AI generated, but it's not. It's disturbing and gross, and it's across the board. It's not left, right. It's at the top. Terrible people.
Right.
So anyway, Melissa, I appreciate your time today. I know we went a little bit over, but any Thursday you're available, we love having you.
Yeah.
I'd love to be here, so I'll look for another blank space on my calendar.
Okay, you just let us know. We're here.
All right.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Uncle Bill.
Thank you. Good job, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks. See ya.